I think I ended up in 39th.
Let me just check that. You're not sneaking a few spots.
No, I think it has me written down as 40th, but I'm actually 39th because of a tie break with Advocate.
Oh, it said 38th, but okay.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, they're still... I mean, that's the last time I checked it earlier today. But still, with them banning people or whatever, I could have moved up.
Okay, I'm just gonna get the questions up and then we'll start. Alright guys, welcome. This is Chill from Team Liquid. I'm joined here with Kennegat on the stream. We've got pretty much the entire IRC team here joining us. We're doing the Terran tutorial project, trying to give you guys some help on how to improve your Terran game. And to help us with that, we've got Artosis, who recently finished 39th in the TSL. He's going to be helping us learn about Terran here. So he's doing the old smiley wave. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for those three people who don't know who you are, Artosis.
Well, I am Artosis from USA. I've been playing for like 9.5 years. I've gone to USA Finals like 5 times, World Finals twice, and I'm just a guy who loves StarCraft.
Alright, so I guess we'll just jump right into it here. This is the first replay Artosis has selected. This was from the TSL?
Yeah, this was a TSL ladder game between myself and Redeemer Media, aka In Control.
Alright, so it looks like a TVZ on Troy. Now, I know your thoughts probably aren't very favorable about Troy, but why don't you tell us how it plays out in Terran vs. Zerg and how you kind of like to play it?
Well, I like to play it like I saw Nada play it on a VOD. What I like to do is open up 2 racks because, 9-pool speed is really popular here to try to kill the geysers. And I like to follow it up with really quick tech while getting my academy and, just getting a group of Marines. I tech right up to dropship in my standard games on Troy. Of course, I deviate from time to time, but the dropship really helps me to, stop any quick expos that they take on the little island type expands, and maybe harass them if they don't take those.
So you're saying dropship before command center or afterwards?
Dropship before command center. It's something that you can do on this map, unlike a lot of other maps, because of the 10 mineral patches. You can actually support 2 Rax Marines while teching on this map, and then easily afford a command center due to the extra mining.
Okay, and I suppose in your experience, what has been Zerg's opening, and what is their response to your dropship play?
Well, there's really only 2 openings that I ever see on this map, TVZ. The first one is just the standard 3-hatch Remuta. And if they go 3-hatch Remuta, what I do is I sneak my dropship along the side of the map, and they're a little bit confused because I don't have an expansion yet. So when their Remutas come into my main, I have my group of Marines there, but I have my dropship out on the map, and then I drop their main and try to kill drones. And that normally works out pretty well. And the only other thing that they ever do is, making a 3rd or a 4th hatch before mutas at one of these expands, killing the 2 assimilators so that it's an island. And in that case, they have slower mutas, so I'll just drop on that expand and kill it.
Okay, and I guess one thing I was mentioning when we were talking about this map before, as a Zerg player, you kind of have 3 targets because you have the main minerals, the expansion minerals, and the assimilators. So I guess if there's mutas in your base and you have your army out, do you have trouble defending both your main minerals and your assimilators from mutas harass, or is that not really a factor?
Well, this map, I really prefer, an SK Terran style. I get a lot of barracks, a lot of Marines and vessels, so normally I have enough Marines coming out of my barracks that it's not too hard to defend all 3 spots.
Okay, so I guess just looking at the game, Redeemer is actually going for a 9-pool speed into into expansion, and you're saying this is a pretty popular map or a popular build from what you've seen on this map?
Yeah, if Terran goes, one racks expand as they do on most maps, this can, it can get right in there. If you don't block with SCVs like I'm doing right there, it can actually go right in and kill you, and otherwise, they can harass you, they can maybe kill simulators and really mess you up early.
But I mean, on other maps you wouldn't see, how often do you run into 9-pool speed against Zerg?
Oh no, on other maps I never really run into it. I mean, time to time, it's just something that Zergs throw in to keep Terran honest so we don't go 14 command center all the time. But overall, you don't see it too often.
Okay. Are you actually cutting Marines at this point, or I'm trying to follow what's going on?
Yeah, I am cutting just a few Marines. I want to get a really quick academy so that I can pressure them into making a few extra sunken colonies. Okay.
So, yeah, this is a pretty fast academy. How many Marines do you think you're going to have completed when the academy finishes? Because I think the standard, from what I know, is like 10 around there, but...
Yeah, I'm aiming for right around 10 Marines, and then I'll try to, mix in a fire bat and maybe a medic and then move out. Okay, and we can see Redeemer is doing exactly what he said. He's taken his third hatchery, is at the 9 o'clock base here. And he's going to be killing the assimilators. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is, are you going to assume this is happening and send your dropships to those positions first, or would you go to the main first? No, I won't assume anything. What I'll do is, when I get enough fire bats and whatnot, so that I know I'm safe, I'll move out on the map. The first place I'll go is towards his natural expansion. I'll want to make sure that he has enough sunkens. If he doesn't, I'll just kill him straight up right there. But I want to hurt his economy, make him make those sunkens, and then I'll walk around with the Marine Medic Army, looking to see if he took any of these bases. And the ones that he hasn't taken, a really smart thing to do with Terran on this map is to kill those, because nowadays Zerg always opens Muta, so they're not going to have the gas to go for drops to take those island expansions. I make them into islands with my Marine Medic.
That's actually, yeah, Intrigue is saying that's so smart. I was going to say, as playing this as a Zerg, I seem to be taking all the expansions and then killing the assimilators, and Terran has to react to that. But yeah, as you've said, it's really smart to do that, especially opening dropship. I mean, it's just playing into your hand, right? So, very smart.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if they want to take an island expand, I already have dropship tech. So overall, this is like a really, really tight build for Terran on this map.
Okay, and a late layer here for Redeemer, obviously, because he opened 9 pool. You see the 4 sunkens obviously can't do anything, and then, just as you said, coming around here and you seeing the 2 geysers, obviously you now know he's taken the 9 o'clock as well.
Yeah, so now that I know that he's taken that, I don't have a lot of scans because, I only have 1 command center. So it's really important that I find out that he has taken that. So now I will go directly there with my dropship, knowing his mutas aren't really going to be quick enough to stop me from killing it.
Okay, and I guess, is this a build you would recommend for a lower level player, let's say between D to C, or is this more a higher level build that can't be taken advantage of?
No, I think more low-level players have maybe problems with macro and whatnot. So I think that it could be a good build for them because it's not so macro-intensive. It's a tech build, so you can really kill them early before you really have to macro.
Yeah, I'm just wondering because of I guess now that you've explained the fundamentals of the build, it's something they can copy. But all these little nuances just seem like they might go above a weaker player's head.
Yeah, I suppose you're right there. It is a little bit complicated. You have to know how to react to the various things Zerg does.
Okay, so this is pretty much standard timing. You would say your dropship comes out around when his Spire finishes?
Yeah, it's right around there.
Wow, still no expansion. It's crazy.
Yep, I will get the expansion pretty soon, but I know that he's going to have a lot of units pretty quickly here, and I'm going to kill his expand. So as long as I'm keeping him on 2 gas, it's okay that, you know, my expansion isn't that quick.
Man, this timing is like razor's edge, hey? Because, I mean, I guess you know he can't have that many mutas out because of the 3 expansions. I was gonna say if he had 9 mutas out, you'd be in trouble, but obviously that's not realistic.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with this build. You know, if he did go the mutas, I would just be having that dropship on the edge of the map. When his mutas come to my main, then I drop in his main. So, you know, you just gotta really watch, make sure you know what they're doing and counter correctly with your dropship.
Okay, I've lost your dropship. Did it got scourged?
Yeah, it did get scourged.
Okay, and assuming you still had that, would you use that to ferry these units out, or would you simultaneously drop elsewhere, or what would that dropship be up to afterwards?
Well, I gotta assume that he has enough mutas to stop another drop, so I probably would have ferried them out if it had lived.
Okay, so I'd say this is pretty much best case scenario. He's down to 2 hatcheries essentially, and has mutas out, and you're expanding now. What would have happened, say, or would you have played differently? Say you dropped in his main, killed a few drones, and his mutas are out harassing you, or say you dropped his expansion, killed a few drones, but didn't kill the hatchery. Would that change how you follow up?
No, it wouldn't really change that much. I would still follow up, you know, a lot of Marines, vessels, and upgrades, because, you know, killing any drones this early against Zerg is really going to help you out.
Alright, so your command center is now done. This is a 10-minute expansion, which is crazy. I mean, this is almost like an old school build.
Yeah, it does liken back to before we liked expansions. But as I said, you know, those 10 mineral patches really support, you know, the different things that I wanted to do on this map.
I guess I just noticed here you lost a geyser. Does that really affect anything? I mean, you said you were going to do SK anyway, so that's not really an issue, I would suppose.
Yeah, no, it's not really an issue. It was kind of like a mistake. Just some Zerglings went up and killed it when my Marines were barely out of range. You know, you don't hear that being attacked, and I wasn't really used to something like that happening. So, you know, but it doesn't really affect me. SCVs fit out, my Marine medic fits out, and I wasn't really planning on making tanks anyway.
Okay, so I guess what's the standard Zerg follow-up that you see? Would a Zerg switch over to Hydralisks at this point and go Lurkers, or continue expanding, playing it more like an island map with mass Mutalisks? I guess, what's your experience in the follow-up?
Normally they try to switch over to Lurker because, you know, they notice by now, you know, I'm upgrading my Marines, it looks like an SK Terran, and so, you know, they don't really want to go pure Muta, but I mean, Jeff does it here. It's also, I mean, you could do either one, but I think that the pure Muta is a little bit more dangerous.
Yeah, especially how fast you got that that science facility up. I'm surprised you don't have a vessel out.
Yeah,
actually, I have too soon.
Bust up my mat.
It's got 2 irradiates too. Yeah, that seems. I mean, you're not going to see lower level Zergs try this Mutalisk build, I would imagine. It's just too deadly.
Yeah, no, you have to execute this Mutalisk build really, really well.
This is crazy. He's actually coming basically all in. Not really all in, but pretty close here.
Yeah, and without that irradiate, you know, he may have totally busted me here.
Wow, it looked like he was going to do a lot more damage. Crazy. But I mean, 2 base against 2 base, this is just playing into your hand. So, I mean, now that you've isolated the map into an island map, it's basically, the longer the game goes, the more it's coming into your favor.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really have to do anything at this point. If you notice that I made a second dropship instead of a second vessel to kill off that 3 o'clock base once his mutas were over near me. So just as long as I keep on keeping him down to, 2 gas, I can basically do anything I want, and the Zerg is going to be behind me.
Alright, there seems to be a bit of a lull in the action here. Why don't you talk about your Terran versus Zerg hotkeys?
Alright, well, I hotkey pretty weirdly, I'd say. I put my command centers early game on 2 and 3. And, of course, my comm stats are always 0, 9, and 8. And, as I get Marine Medic, I just, I go 1 Marine, 2 Medic, or then 1, 2 Marine, 3 Medic. And I use my hotkeys mostly for, just my units, because you have to be so quick to react in Terran vs. Zerg. You can't really waste hotkeys on buildings. And I just use the F2 key, positional hotkeys, for my production buildings.
Okay, and just we got a question here from Rage. Don't you fear him getting islands and defending it with mass muta and hive?
Well, yeah, that's kind of why I went for that second dropship real quick. I couldn't let him keep that 3 o'clock island, which he took. And at this point, you see I'm getting a second starport in my main. So yeah, I realize that he's going to have a lot of mutas because that's what he's decided on. And Zerg is kind of cheat like that. So, once I get up to like 5 vessels or something, plus and 2 eBays going on my Marines, the mutas shouldn't really be a problem.
And something that I noticed beforehand, which they've gotten killed at this point, but there was a Marine left at the 6 o'clock base, and there was a Marine in the 5 o'clock main. So just watching for expansions at both those positions.
Yeah, normally whenever I scout an area of the map with my Marines, I will try to leave one there, just so I can see. Sometimes, they just send a drone and then I get a kill on it and it slows their expansion down. It's really totally worth it to leave a Marine there for the extra reconnaissance.
Speaking as a Zerg player, that is the most annoying shit ever. So I advise Terrans not to do that when you are playing me, because it's really frustrating.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
And I mean, if you watch lower level replays and then switch over to higher level replays, one of the things you always notice is just how good their scouting is. And I mean, looking at both players, there's patrolling Scourge, SCVs, Marines everywhere. So, I mean, I think that's one tip lower level players can really take away from this, is just pay attention to how much stuff is scouting around the map, because you really can't play without the information like these guys do.
Yeah, scouting really separates, different levels of skill. You can learn macro and you can learn micro just by sitting there in your base doing it, but you really got to be all over the map looking with Terran. You cannot let them get, extra gases in this matchup, because if, Zerg sneaks and expands somewhere and he has an extra gas for just a little bit too long, you're gonna lose the hive tech. There's just no two ways about it, so you have to keep on top of that.
Okay, so at this point, I don't know if you've scouted bottom right, but you've seen these simulators are dead. You have to assume there's an expansion down there. Is that your priority, or I see you're making tanks and getting siege, or are you actually thinking about going towards his main?
Well, I'm getting the tanks right now because I know he has a ton of mutas, and it would be kind of suicidal to just go ahead and try to dropship Marines in. So what I want to do is just kind of bulldoze his natural, because, I mean, I have to kill his bases that have gas. And does it matter which one I kill? Not too much. And that is the more accessible one right now, so that's the one I'm going to go for first.
Your timing looks good here. You're moving out just before the Greater Spire. Is that kind of lucky, or had you scanned it, or was it just kind of internal timing?
No, the game was a little bit too weird for it to be a timing that I really knew. I guess it was just a little bit lucky here. But I mean, I have enough vessels that even when the Greater Spire finishes, I'll feel pretty safe.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And I mean, at this point, is there anything Zerg can really even do?
I'm sure Jidon would find a way to just murder me from here, but for a foreigner Zerg, I don't think so. I kept him on 2 gas too long, and as long as I stay aggressive here, even if I get sloppy, I should be able to kill him.
Okay, so yeah, I would agree. I guess in retrospect, what did In Control even do wrong in your mind?
Well, you know, I think he could have switched over to Lurker instead of Muta, because I was already kind of leaning towards the SK Terran, which is really good against the mass Muta. But other than that, I kind of got him on build orders this game. You know, I had that quick dropship, and he took that quick 9 o'clock, and once I killed that, you know, he was a hatchery down, he had lost drones and everything, so I was just really far ahead right there.
Okay, so I suppose what would be the Zerg counter? Say I know you're going to do this build. What should I as a Zerg do to counter it?
Well, you would not take a quick expand at one of those little island places. What you would do is, you know, just 3-hat Muta from your main, and make a sunken and a couple Scourge, and just, you know, watch the mini map. You just have to watch that mini map, and when you see my dropships coming, you move your Scourge along. If you Scourge my first dropship when I'm doing this build, I am very far behind, and I'm gonna have a hard time coming back. Yeah,
it just seems like the timing though. I mean, you flew your dropship right above this Zergling at 12 o'clock, so I think he even knew it was coming, but the Spire wasn't done, so there was really nothing he could do at that point.
Yeah, that was because of him taking that extra base. As I said, you wouldn't want to take the extra base against this build.
Now a random 6 SCVs main earning to top left.
Yeah, this is, you know, sometimes I you know, mess up my macro a little bit. You can see here I have like 3k, so I just send a bunch of SCVs out. There's not really any room left in my main, and over there I can make, you know, command center turrets, that type of thing.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen a Terran do that. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, Protoss, you know, they can send 1 probe over, you can make 58 cannons in about 2 seconds. Me, I gotta send my SCVs over to make turrets.
And how do you feel about that, Tim?
The probe is the best unit in the game.
Oh, man. Alright, so, oh, there's a good one. Is it better than Ultras?
That's like a rhetorical question. For reals, yo.
Alright, so I guess this replay is wrapping up. We've got someone submitted a Terran vs. Zerg question here. I don't know if you're going to be able to give it a serious answer, but someone wants to know how to beat the fast Ultralisk build, which is Chosen used to do it quite a bit. I don't know if he does it anymore, but it's basically 2 base straight into Hive, and you get really fast 4 carapace on your Ultralisks. I've seen replays of players losing to this where they have 3 bases and 15 barracks, and they still lose to it. So, I mean, if you saw this coming, how would you handle it?
Yeah, I've actually played against this build a lot, and I've discussed it with various players how to beat it. It's really hard. What I like to do against it, if I kind of catch wind that it's happening, is I go for SK Terran, and you're going to have 1 attack timing. Just as Ultralists are coming out, before their extra +2 carapace is done, where you have like 4 groups of Marines if you went SK off 2 bases, and you're going to be able to bust their Sunkens right then. And almost every game that I've won against that is through just busting their Sunkens right then. But of course, I mean, they have Ultralisks, and they might fight that off. So if that doesn't work perfectly, what you got to do is you got to get a lot of vessels, and you got to just keep irritating the Ultralisks.
Okay, so you would just basically time your attack to be maximized right when that cavern finishes, and when the Ultras start coming out, that's when you would attack?
Yeah, that's right. Right around then, you can have about 4 groups of Marines, and that's going to be your best chance to win the game.
I know when I used to do that build, my buddy who was he was getting pretty frustrated against it, so he turtled up with like, I don't know, he must have like 24 tanks or something ridiculous, and like 6 bunkers, and then I decided to just get defilers and roll in, and it was like his entire plan was foiled. It's pretty funny, but.
Yeah, you know, I've suggested time and again that Zergs should not be allowed to use Ultralisks and Defilers in the same game. I think that's ridiculous.
Interesting. I guess we'll have to submit that to the balance team. I don't know if there's any patches on the way, but definitely something for them to consider. I guess we'll just speed this up to 16x, because it looks like he's basically holding on to 2 bases. I mean, I don't even know if he's mining at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty over right now.
Maybe a little spiteful staying in the game.
No doubt about that.
Was this a TSL replay, or was this just you guys playing together?
No, this was a TSL replay.